Nintendo has announced that it's going to be ending the Miiverse on November 8th. And it does quite a few things on the Wii U. This is the Wii U's Plaza, and immediately you're going to see Mii's running to these different games. And these games are the most discussed games on Miiverse. And you can click on any of these guys to see what they're saying. But this is oftentimes a good way to see kind of what's being played and what's being discussed, and it might expose you to games that you haven't really thought about. But even better is when you go on Miiverse, you're going to get all the new communities. See, each game on the Wii U automatically got its own Miiverse community. So this is a good way to see what games actually came out for the Wii U. And so if something jumps out at you, you can go to that community and see what that game is like. And so when you go on the community, you immediately get a chance to go to the Nintendo eShop, which is in the upper right corner, and see how it's listed. But even better, in this community, you can see what the players are saying about it. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it buggy? Is it worth getting? And if you don't see the answers that you're looking for, you can always post in the discussion and just ask. This is a really great tool to see what games are out there. So a big part of Miiverse to me is the fact that you can pause your game at any point and capture a screenshot. So you can go to Miiverse and you can either capture the screenshot and then just go back into the gameplay, or you could write a play journal right on the spot. But this has become kind of a big part of the Wii U for me. I'm always looking for that perfect, really cool looking screenshot to just capture, you know, what I'm doing in the game or capture the game itself. And it's just really great to be able to grab it and then just go right back into the action and then write your play journal later. So your screenshots are kept on your profile and your screenshot album. And the really cool thing about this is that you can go to the Miiverse site and download these screenshots onto your computer and use them for any purpose, as opposed to being forced to post them on Facebook or something like that on the Switch. And here I'm actually going to type a play journal. And so here's my play journal on the community. It's also going to show up on my own profile and on the stream of the folks who are following me on Miiverse. So play journals give you an opportunity to talk about the game. You might want to talk about your progress or review it or critique it, talk about a glitch or something that's bugging you about it, or a place you're stumped on. Some games use it as a scoreboard because there's no online leaderboard, so you can post your high scores on Play Journal. It's just got a lot of different uses, and honestly, I never really talked about games that much on social media, so this was kind of a unique opportunity to do that. If I posted this stuff on like my Facebook, I mean, no one would care. None of my friends would care what I'm doing in a video game, but this was just kind of an interesting way for me to just talk about a game and, you know, share my thoughts with others and see what they were thinking. Just a unique, interesting opportunity. So aside from play journals, there are also places that you can draw on the community. You can create drawings on your Wii U gamepad, and there's just an entire generation of very talented artists who did this, you know, on Miiverse. And there was also discussions. Oftentimes these were used to find challengers or teammates for multiplayer games. Discussions were often also used to give tips to other players, or you could ask for tips. And this could actually be very handy because a lot of these games are older or obscure, or no one's heard of the new game or whatever. So it didn't really have an online presence that you could look up a fact for or find a big community online. So having this already built-in community where you could just go and ask the players like, hey, I'm stumped on this, can you help me, was actually really, really cool and very, very helpful. And again, I want to point out that we are losing a tremendous amount of work that's been done by these great young artists with this Wii U gamepad. I'm an artist myself, and I have mad props for anyone who can draw with that stylus. I mean, there was just a lot of great stuff, and it's definitely going to be missed. So let's talk about the integration into the actual game. A lot of it was in-game comments that you would post on Miiverse, and they would appear in the actual game. This happened in a lot of games like Wii Sports Club. If something happened in the game, for instance, you got hit too hard during boxing or it was between rounds, you would see these comments from people in your sports club pop up. They might be words of encouragement, they might be advice, they might even be taunting you. But that was just one of the ways they integrated Miiverse into games. And they also used it so you could measure yourself, see how you were doing compared to other people in your sports club. In WII U, it was used to let you join gyms, and they would appear in your training plaza, and you could click on your fellow gym members and see how they're progressing, what they've achieved. And you could also share what you've achieved, and it would also let you know how you're doing in comparison to your gym mates on things like the altitude and walking challenges. Super Smash Bros. Used it in the Miiverse stage, in which messages from Miiverse cheering on the particular characters that are battling would appear in the background. Smash also uses it to share pictures, videos, custom fighters, custom stages, upload videos to YouTube, and for custom tournaments. So all that's going away. The ability to upload video directly from Mario Kart to YouTube is also going away. In Splatoon, it's used for comments from your fellow Inklings in the plaza. It's also used for graffiti. The Miiverse drawings will become graffiti in both the plaza and stages. And it's particularly noticeable if you have the Squid Sister amiibos. Those will trigger night concerts where you'll see a concert by the Squid Sisters, and you'll have Inklings with comments supporting either sister. But the plaza itself is going to be covered in all these neon signs that are Miiverse drawings, so it would be very, very noticeable if that went away. And this may be kind of window dressing as far as gameplay goes, but it's been a very, very big part of the Splatoon community. These drawings are just a huge part of the Splatoon community, and that tradition does continue with Splatoon 2 on the Switch. You can buy a stylus, which will make drawing on the Switch a heck of a lot easier. Otherwise you're having to use your finger. But unfortunately that tradition for Splatoon 1 is going to end, and you'll no longer be able to see those really wonderful drawings that everyone works so hard for in the actual game. Arguably the biggest loss will be for Mario Maker. Mario Maker uses Miiverse to let players leave comments and feedback for people who create levels. Level creators have also used Miiverse to put text in their levels. So for instance, a story level might use it for dialogue, a quiz level might use it to label the different answers to choose from. Some levels may use it to leave instructions for people or to illustrate things, or you might create a level like the one I'm showing where people get to leave their own comments, and that's part of the level. They answer a question that you've given them or leave artwork there or whatever. All that's going away, and those levels are going to be broken. I mean, imagine a multiple choice quiz where you can't see any of the answers. Imagine trying to read a story where you can't see any of the dialogue. Yeah, that's going to happen unless these Miiverse comments on these levels are preserved, so that's going to screw up a lot of people's levels. And there are many other games that are affected. This is just some examples, and there's many games on the 3DS as well that'll be affected. Mario vs. Donkey Kong Tipping Stars, for instance, you'll no longer be able to share levels, and you'll no longer be able to get all the stamps that were involved with liking other people's levels. So yeah, there's a lot of games. This is focused on the Wii U because I don't own a 3DS. And I know that the Miiverse had a lot of critics. A lot of criticism was legitimate and just normal for what you're going to get in social media. Criticism about the rules, criticism about how they're enforced, criticism about, you know, features that should be available or aren't as good or whatever. All this is pretty normal. I mean, I made my own video about that. This is all very standard criticism any social media website or platform is going to get. Most of the negativity aimed at Miiverse seemed to be involving inappropriate posts. However, in the 2 years I used Miiverse, I may have seen maybe one, maybe two inappropriate posts. And those were probably promptly deleted by moderators. It just wasn't something that you really came across from actually using Miiverse normally. But if I go on other social media platforms, I see inappropriate stuff every day. So I don't know why Miiverse was held to such a higher standard than every other social media app and website in existence. And it generally really wasn't criticism about that. It was generally more ridicule. It was just people kind of making fun of it in hopes of gaining attention or getting more views and followers. I went to one account that posted bad Miiverse posts on a social media site, and all those posts had been deleted by the moderator, so it wasn't like the moderator wasn't doing their job there. It was just someone, you know, posting them trying to get attention. And I watched another video, a very popular one, about Miiverse posts, and this was a bunch of adults who were trying to find inappropriate Miiverse posts on the spot, just like they're recording the video and they're browsing Miiverse and trying to find something to make fun of. They really couldn't find anything inappropriate to make fun of, so they just started making fun of just random posts, normal posts by kids, and it was honestly really weird and kind of mean-spirited and a little creepy to see these adults kind of like sit there and just laugh at stuff that children posted. I mean, yeah, not all of it's going to be on topic, but that's kind of the way social media works. If they want to talk with their friends or make jokes or, you know, maybe even an occasional off-color joke, that's kind of normal for social media. And I just don't really understand kind of why there's a bunch of videos with adults making fun of children on YouTube. It's just weird to me. I mean, I guess humor is subjective, but I didn't find it funny. Wii U was not as popular as the other gaming consoles in its generation, and so a lot of people didn't use Miiverse, or they barely used Miiverse, so a lot of people didn't know what it was or understand what it was. It was popular at the time to ridicule Nintendo. The Wii U was considered by many to be a failure. A lot of third-party developers had abandoned Nintendo platforms, and a lot of hardcore gamers had gotten the mistaken impression that Nintendo didn't want them on their platforms. I think if the Miiverse was released today, it would have a much, much different reception because the Switch is a hot item now. It is considered hip, it's considered successful, and so I think the perception for Miiverse would have been much different if it had been on the Switch. And so, in closing, I want to thank everyone on Miiverse. I want to thank everyone who's ever given me advice or tips on a game or responded to my post or commented on my Mario Maker levels. Thank you. I didn't make any friends on Miiverse. Not really. I'm just not that kind of guy on social media typically, but I will say I've seen a lot of people who made friends through Miiverse, and I hope those friendships keep going. I hope you guys find other platforms to keep your conversations and your friendships going. And I just want to thank everyone for making Miiverse a cool community, a unique community, and getting me to talk about games in a way that I just don't think I ever would. It was just a very unique platform, and I want to thank Nintendo for giving it to us. I wish it could continue. I wish, or at least I hope, that there is a way to preserve some of it in Mario Maker. I'm hoping those comments could be archived and still be in the levels. I don't know. We'll be getting a Mario Maker update to allow it to work without Miiverse. You'll still be able to upload levels without Miiverse. So we'll see how that update works, but it's very possible we'll just lose all the comments in the levels. And, like I said, a lot of levels that used comments for gameplay elements may be broken, but that's the nature of the beast. Thank you guys for listening, and I really wish I'd gotten this out earlier, but it's been crazy with work. I had a death in the family, but I really, really just wanted to add my voice to this conversation before the end. All right, guys. Thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you later.